Good Wednesday morning and welcome into SimWorld today here on April 26th. I am Marsh, as is the weekly Wednesday tradition. I am joined on the screen right now by B-Ron, not B-Ron. I am so sorry, Siege. It's too early, Siege. Siege has not changed his complexion. It is Siege over there. Good morning, Siege. How you doing?
Morning. I can be anyone you want me to be. Happy hump day.
Don't tempt me with a good time. A lot of good activity last night in the SWBA. That's where we're going to begin. We'll start in Minnesota, where the Timberwolves put a shellacking on the Phoenix Suns to continue to put any questions, or trying to put questions to bed about can this team beat Phoenix. Minnesota sure can. They dominated last night in a win by 12 that felt at times much bigger than that.
Anthony Edwards is him. Anthony Edwards is him.
That's it.
Yeah, he's him. He's him. That's it. It's simple. Try, cut.
Well, I mean, he did go 3 of 12 from the floor, so it's not as
Doesn't
if
matter.
he was lighting it up.
Doesn't matter. Anthony Edwards is him. It's the mentality. It's the barking. The way he's been talking to Kevin Durant, you just love to see it. He's not afraid of the greats. He's not afraid of the legends. Because he's the next one. Anthony Edwards. He's him. It's certainly not Rudy Gobert. It's the reason that they're getting all these wins. Although he's playing really well. It's Anthony Edwards.
I'm not here to deny the fact that Anthony Edwards is, in fact, a phenomenal basketball player. A big piece of this is they did a phenomenal job defending the Suns' big three. And when you can accomplish that, there is not a whole lot of other options on this roster that's going to step in and make plays that influence the game of basketball, right? Yusuf Nurkic, I'm not too concerned about. Grayson Allen, I'm not too concerned about. And when your stars each play 41 or 42 minutes and each of them shoots below 500 and makes only 6 shots, the Suns aren't winning basketball games. It's the challenge of big threes, but in Phoenix's case, it's particularly the challenge of a big three that Kevin Durant's one of them in his mid to late 30s. Bradley Beal is one of them by pure de facto, the fact that he's made an all-star game at some point in his career. He's not the version that he ever was in Washington. And then Devin Booker just has a quiet night. Minnesota's good. There's a reason they won 56 games this season. And it's honestly not just because of Anthony Edwards, but it's the depth that this team has with Conley, with McDaniels, who had a huge night. They survived the Towns foul trouble. A really great basketball team that's not built around a singular player taking over. Ant does that, but they don't only have pathways to victory because of that.
Absolutely, and it's the defensive kind of depth that they have too. You talk about Gobert, you talk about Karl Anthony Towns, who's a better defender than people give him credit for. McDaniels, you already mentioned him, but he is a lockdown defender. Conley's been doing it forever. Anthony Edwards, I don't want him defending me. I mean, this team is really well rounded. It's one of the young teams, specifically in the West. This turning of the guard we're seeing. The Timberwolves should be on top of the West for a very long time.
Yeah, the one challenge to Minnesota is just we haven't seen them in a close fourth quarter game. That's where their offense has always kind of struggled, is when you need to get a bucket in a 1.2 possession game. That's where they haven't been exceptionally well this season, but they haven't needed to get there because they blasted Phoenix. Let's go to the other series that I think is, well, they're all very interesting outside of Boston, Miami, but let's go to Los Angeles, where Luka Doncic carries the Cavs. Kawhi's return doesn't matter. Kind of a return to the mean, if you will, after the blowout, kind of abnormal game one. The Mavs are legitimate, and Luka Doncic getting rolling there with a big night to get this series back even. Does Dallas, even with Kawhi Leonard back, does Dallas have a shot to win this series?
Yeah, I think they do. I think Luka Doncic, he's got the chops. Kyrie's been playing well. That whole team's been playing really well. The role players have been role playing, and I don't think we give Luka Doncic enough credit for what he does. He's a year younger than SGA is up with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's always getting praised. He's so young. He's so good. Luka Doncic is amazing. The kind of basketball he can play, the things he can do on the court is sensational. And yeah, he's the kind of guy that if he is on the floor for your team, like I think you have a chance to win. So I think they have a chance to beat the Clippers.
I think that people don't talk about, nice voice crack, that they don't talk about Luka Doncic as much as they do Shea because he's been doing it for longer than Shea has, and he's better than Shea. I think that's probably the only reason. But this was a predictable game in another facet. James Harden came back to earth. He has this incredible game one, and he did this last year against Boston with the Sixers. 40-point game one, fizzles out a little bit in game two. He has 22 last night, goes 2 of 10 from 3-point. And the Clippers, the same argument that Phoenix has. If your stars aren't getting rolling, you're going to really struggle. Now, the Clippers have a lot better defense than what what Phoenix can do, but Kawhi Leonard 7 of 17. Paul George a fine but kind of typical Paul George post Indiana 7 of 14 for 22 points. You can't really knock them for what they did, but you can't really look at this group in the same way you look at Luka Doncic. 11 of 26, not great, but 5 of 14 from deep, 9 assists, 32 points. That overwhelming, this guy was getting rolling, doing what he needed to do. The Clippers don't consistently have that. I picked the Clippers personally in this one, but that was more so because I felt like the Mavericks are just more reliant on their stars, and in games like game one where they don't get rolling or their supporting staff is so bad, Clippers just have the advantage. But this is going to be a great series. This is going to be a great series. Real quick, your thought on the Pacers and the Bucks. Pacers blast the Bucks last night.
I don't feel good about it. I don't
Are
feel
you a
good about
Bucks
it.
fan?
I'm a Bucks fan. I don't feel good about it.
Okay, I didn't mean. Yep, that wasn't an
Okay.
intentional shot at you,
Nah, it's
CJ.
okay. If it was a good one. I don't feel good about it. I mean, the Pacers had the Bucks number in the regular season. No Giannis. Need more from Chris Middleton. He's supposed to be our guy. I know Dame's there now, but yeah, don't feel good about last night. Don't feel good.
Y'all need an answer for Pascal Siakam because that kid is cooking 37 last night. No
His name
forward
is
without
Giannis.
Giannis there.
His name
Well,
is
yeah.
Giannis. Yep.
Keep his calf intact. Let's move on to SimWorld Prep, where the Originators' 10-game winning streak comes to an end at the hands of, you guessed it, Jarrell Beauchamp, the UNLV commit, and SimWorld Oceania. If you had that on your bingo card, congratulations. Huge win for Oceania. Of course, Originators were eventually going to lose again, but they come up 2 wins shy of Philadelphia. I think let's take a moment at the end of a winning streak to commemorate the incredible run that it was, and also a great night last night from Jarrell Beauchamp.
Absolutely, Jarrell Beauchamp. He's become a little more talked about. At the beginning of the season, it was Damian Luffy and Jarrell Beauchamp. Now it's kind of they're sitting right there next to each other, almost a 1A, 1B type situation. Luffy also had a really, really great game. 2 blocks in this one. Both of them were actually on Cooper Flag. Did really good defending him in the post, despite Cooper Flag, putting up 30. Damian Luffy did a great job defensively on him. Musa Mashad, 4 blocks. This whole team defensively is really where the difference was made here. Still letting up 69 points, which isn't a crazy low number. But if you look at the game, you watch the highlights, you look at the stats, what they were able to do on the defensive end, allowing Cooper Flag to do what he does, but locking down the rest of that team is really what led them to be able to get this win.
Yeah, they did a nice job, as you mentioned, basically isolating everybody else to ensure that Jay Laster, who, by the way, 8 minutes played last night for Jay Laster in the loss, Kamari Ward, some of these guys, Victor Selgauskas, some of these guys that you typically see carry the water next to Cooper Flag, none of them could do it. But you're right, this is a team now in Oceania with a pair of nice stars, Luffy and Beauchamp, 20, 19 points per game. 13 and 11. It's a dangerous group as we head to the race to 1. As we head to the next segment, we're going to bring in a coach that's got an opportunity to try to make some noise in a competitive region in the race to 1. We're bringing in Dreece Williams. Dreece, how you doing, Coach?
Morning, everybody. I'm good.
I mean, the simple question here, Coach, is you got to be feeling real good that your record-setting winning streak is still intact. It's still not in jeopardy of getting beaten now that the Originators has come to a close.
Yeah, we celebrate like the 72 Dolphins every time somebody get high up in their win streak and take a loss.
I appreciate the pettiness, but Coach, it's been a great season for you guys. It's been much different, I think, but from last season. A really nice turnaround. What, in your opinion, has been the biggest component of that?
Just an overall focus on the same goal. Last year when I came in, inherited the team we had some great players, great individual pieces. But as any coach that comes in new, they realize that real quick that you got to get your own identity. No matter how good the players are, it might not fit what you do. I had to, take a little while to figure some things out, add some pieces to the core. And this year we're playing better. We're playing much better than I expected. I can't even lie. But it was the goal. It was the goal to be a contender for the race to one title before we figured out that everybody was going to make it. We just wanted to make it in, and I felt that we could do some damage. So I think we're above the curve of where we're at right now. But I'm proud of this team. I like what we're doing out here.
And coach, you got game of the week coming up tonight, playing Beast of the East, another really strong team in the Founders region. What do y'all do to kind of prepare for a game like this against a team that's so unpredictable in their rotations and what they're going to throw at you?
You play teams like Beast of the East. The best thing you could do is play your game. Whatever you do, bring that and bring it very well. Bring your best game possible, because Drayton is very tricky. Throw different lineups out there, different strategies. So you just got to be on top of it. It's not one thing you can particularly do, because like I said, he's very crafty at what he does. So we just got to be prepared for anything, honestly.
Coach, Monte Parsons come in this season and been incredible. He's headlining a really nice 15-year-old class right now. Is that something, when you recruited him and brought him in, that you thought we were going to get out of him here in year one? Or has this impressive production that he's gotten to be your guys' number one player surprised even yourself?
If we go back to the tapes, I forgot who I was having an interview with, but I said that Monty would average around 17 this year. I said 35 from my top two guys, so that was like 17 and a half from him and Nas. We about right at that. So he is playing not exactly how I wanted him to play. I can't predict all that, but he's playing up to the level that I expected from him. A lot of people didn't see his true skill set in them open runs, but it was just something about him that was like, yeah, this is the guy to bring to Philadelphia to be, your next star.
Fair enough. And what can you say about the way that Nas Hall has been able to not relinquish that number one role, but we see Monte become kind of almost the guy there for Philadelphia. And Nas Hall is not a backseat, but has been able to kind of not take the star role as much as he did last year. What can you say about Nas Hall and the way that he's been able to do that?
I don't know. Last year, Nas got a raw deal. Nas had to do what he had to do last year so we could put some points on the board. We weren't a very efficient offensive team. So, we put the ball in his hands and told him to go get his baskets. This year we promised him that we would get him help so he could transition into SWU with a more rounded skill set. He needed to learn how to be on the ball more, defend better, and things like that. So we just told him we'd get him some help so he could play a more well-rounded game. And he's taking to that pretty well. His numbers is a little down on face value, but if you actually watch everything and do the tapes and all that stuff, Nas is really rounded out his game very well. For a superstar scorer to be able to come in, defend, get steals, blocks, assists, it's a good sign. I like what he's done this year.
Well, Coach, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck tonight against Beast of the East. Best of luck the rest of the season in your guys' pursuit of the race to one crown.
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
All right, a big night in SimWorld Prep action last night. We are breaking down. We're going through each and every one of them. We'll start. We talked about it already a little bit, but Oceania, 13th win of the season. OGs, one win shy of 20 still. A 77-69 win for Oceania thanks to Jarrell Beauchamp.
Next, we're moving on to South America. AT Aliens coming in, defensively locking them up. 8 blocks as a team, 4 blocks as a team, 8 steals. They get the win, 63-54.
Beast of the East ahead of their game against against Philadelphia. They get rolling 79-74 despite 31 from Amar Afua.
Run DMV traveled to take on Bad Boys Basketball. Samuel Bogus did his normal thing, 27 points. This one was back and forth until the very end, but Bad Boys Basketball took the 77-76 victory at the end.
The Yacht Club rolling into Indy and landlocked Indiana. Darius McBride, 16 points, double-double from Josiah Cook, and a 2-point win, 70-68 for the Yacht Club.
Southeast Select stays hot, gets their 6th win in a row over SimWorld Europe. Kadarius Stack Jr. stuffed the stat sheet, 11 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks, did it all. Southeast Select wins this one.
Daniel Ori nails 4 of Beyond the Arch's 7 3-pointers. They take down Cascadia on the road, 67-62.
Red Jontner in Latin America getting another sneaky win over the Rocky Mountain Monsters. Red Jontner putting up 14 points, 11 assists, notching that double-double. Leon Stark adding 20 points. This Latin American team starting to look like they could do something.
And that is our slate from Tuesday. Big slate coming up Wednesday, of course, the game of the week. Beast of the East, Philadelphia. That's at 7 p.m. in University City. SimWorld Asia Pacific and H-Town Hoopers, Showtime Basketball, Best Coast Ballers at the 8 and 9 slots. That's our show. We'll be back tomorrow recapping all that, recapping playoff action in the association. Siege, thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you next week with Siege. Rick Blaze returns to the hot seat tomorrow on Thursday. We'll talk to you then here on SimWorld TV. Only place you can see the game, be the game.